Business information now flows instantly around the globe. What does this mean for corporate marketing efforts? Joining us for this week's Smith Business Close-Up is Gaurav Bhalla, Executive Education Fellow at the Smith School and founder and CEO of Knowledge Kinectics. Sir, thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for having me.
You have written that too many companies are managed as if it were still the 1960s. What do you mean by that?
Well, recently, Roland Rust, a colleague of mine at the R.H. Smith School of Business, and I wrote an article in the Harvard Business Review in January, which talked about rethinking marketing. And the whole idea is that, we don't live in an era where you just put your brand out on television and you shout at the customers and tell them how great your brand is. We live in a very different era today. The customers are infinitely more powerful than they ever have been. We live in an interconnected global economy. If the butterfly flaps its wings in Brazil, a lot of turbulence may take place in Asia. And most importantly, we have a new performance imperative. It's people, planet, and then profits. And so when you live in an era like this, it's very important that you rethink the way you create value, you rethink the way you shake hands with your customers, and you rethink the way in which you measure your performance. So that's what we mean by rethinking marketing.
Is there an example of it doesn't have to be a specific company or industry, but somebody doing this well, somebody doing this poorly?
Absolutely. Let's take an example of a non-American company, but one that operates in America also, a company called Unilever. They are a British multinational, and they are very good at rethinking how they are relating to their customers. So I'll give you a couple of dimensions on which they are rethinking marketing. First of all, as I told you, that too many companies are very interested in just telling and shouting at their customers. More and more companies realize that the web is alive with the sound of customer conversation. So they do a very good job of listening to their customers. They also do a very good job of engaging their customers and creating value. So recently they had the 100-year celebration of Marmite. Have you heard of the brand Marmite?
No,
Jeff?
I haven't.
No, you haven't. Don't worry about it. It's a very interesting brand. Either you love it or you hate it. There is nothing in between. So recently they had the 100-year celebration, the 100-year party, and they launched a new product, Marmite XO, XO standing for extra strong. And the most interesting thing about it is that the entire brand was developed and conceived and launched with the help of Marmite customers. 10, 15 years ago, that would have been unheard of. And also they are very conscious of their responsibility towards the environment, and they have a number of sustainability initiatives, especially in palm oil, in place. So you can say that a company like Unilever, companies like Nike, P&G, etc., they are doing a very good job of rethinking how they market and how they shake hands with customers.
So the basic idea is that the customer is not so much a target of marketing efforts as he or she is a partner in the enterprise somehow. What does that mean for the role of the marketing department?
Well, that's very well put, Jeff. You put it very nicely, that the customer is not just a target. You're not just interested in taking the money out of the customer's wallet, but the customer is a collaborator. So what this means for the marketing department is they need to shift their focus from within the company, where they are focused on their operations and their brands, to outside the company, where they're actually collaborating with the customer to create value with them. And so the customer becomes a resource, that becomes a collaborator, that become a partner, but definitely not someone whom they're exploiting.
I'm thinking that the incumbent chief marketing officer at a big company is not going to volunteer to be moved aside. How does change like this happen in a constructive way?
Well, I'm glad you said it, Jeff. One of the recommendations that we made in the article in the Harvard Business Review, which was quite provocative, was exactly this. That maybe companies should think very seriously about having something called a chief customer officer. And this is, by the way, not entirely a new concept. There are several companies that have chief customer officers. So when you have a chief customer officer, by definition, there is somebody in the company, somebody very concretely responsible for having conversations on behalf of the customer inside the company. So we think that that would be a very enlightened move.
All right, we'll leave it there. Gaurav Bhalla joining us from the Smith School of Business. Sir, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jeff.